Our spiritual service starts in 5 minutes. Get your coffee, get your friends, get your seats. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Free Spiritual Community. We're a community for addicts and loved ones of addicts and spiritual refugees. We're breaking the silence of addiction while creating space for healing and recovery and spiritual connection. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Noelle, and I'm on staff here at Free. Rev Ryan is still on his sabbatical all month of July, so y'all are stuck with me for another couple of weeks. But really glad to be here with you guys tonight. A couple things before we kick off service. For those of you, if it's your first time here tonight, we have our welcome bags right outside. There's some fresh roasted coffee. Tammy got those together this morning. A little bit about what we do here at Free, and then a little bit about what Wagon Coffee is about. So please grab one on your way out if it's your first time here. Let's see. So next up, tomorrow, we have our Regeneration Day. And so this is with Elevate Recovery Homes. I'm sorry, I guess okay. So this is with Elevate Recovery Homes. So this is gonna be tomorrow. It's gonna be an event. There's gonna be some goats and alpacas and chickens. Oh gosh, there's gonna be some organic bees there. And so if you sign up online, it'll give you all the information about where to attend and how to do so. Bryce Givens is also gonna be talking a little bit about it tonight. Next Saturday, we are gonna be having our next before service party. So that's gonna be from 5 to 7 in our cafe. We're teaming up with Aurora Sober Living on this and Step Denver. And so we'll have Crumbles cookies right next door and just some community before service. So that's next Saturday from 5 to 7. All right, and then last up, our grand opening of Free Cafe is gonna be August 6th. So this is from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We have ex-Denver Bronco player Monty Ball. He's gonna be our keynote speaker that day. He's in recovery as well, so he'll be here. There's gonna be free hot dogs and hamburgers all day. There's gonna be a raffle, just a ton of games, and it's gonna be a great event. So mark your calendars for August 6th for the grand opening of Free Cafe here at Free Spiritual Community. So today, for those of you guys who don't know, we had our first sip and shop event here at the cafe right next door. And so there was local vendors and artisans that came in. We had boutiques and different shops kind of showcase, just local community business. And so Tammy put together this quick video for y'all to check out the sip and shop event that we had today. Oh no. All right, so that was from 10 to 2 today. We're gonna be doing those, I think, bi-monthly moving forward. It was a lot of success and just a great day. I thought we were gonna get a whole video without seeing Ryan's awful dance moves, but I guess not, so. All right, you guys. So how we kick off the service every week is with celebrations. We wanna lift y'all up, whether there's a new baby in the community or a sobriety birthday, or maybe there's a belly button birthday. So if you're online, we want you to take 3 minutes and write in the comments what you wanna be lifted up for, what we can celebrate with you. And if you're in the room tonight, Derek is gonna walk around with the mic, just raise your hand and say what we can celebrate with you. Let us celebrate with you. So let's take 3 minutes.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go. Got that smile upon my face, 'cause there's excitement in the chase.
Hey, I'm Brandon, and I'm celebrating my buddy CW. He's got 30 days sober today.
40 days, that's incredible.
Had a boy C-Dub.
Still I run towards the wind and let the challenge draw me in, 'cause I want more.
Oh, Derek, there's one right here in the middle. It might be a stretch.
I celebrate 9 months sober this week.
Right on. Congratulations on 9 months. That's incredible.
I'm celebrating 7 months.
7 months sober. Congratulations, sister. I'm glad you're here. Oh, they're rolling right behind you, Derek.
Next week, my name is Sheldon. I'll have 90 days.
Sheldon, right on. Congratulations on 90 days. That's incredible.
I'm Dom, and I have 36 days today.
Right on, Tom. That's incredible. Hey, Derek, right up here. Right behind you. God, there's a lot. This is awesome.
Mike, on July 3rd, I celebrated 1 year sober.
1 year sober. That's incredible. Derek, I have one.
Hey guys, Bobby G here, the tech team. Chris isn't here this week. He took the week off, but last week he announced that his brother was having open heart surgery. Just wanted to let everybody know that it all went smooth. He's in recovery and everything's going good. So thanks for your prayers.
Thank you so much for that, Bobby. You guys, I have a celebration. My mom is here tonight, and today is her belly button birthday. So happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Oh, Shannon's got one right up here, Derek. You need some cardio.
Hi, I'm Shannon, and it's been a long 1 year journey for me, but I celebrated 60 days last Wednesday.
I love you, sister.
Here we go.
Congratulations. 60 days is a big deal. We're glad you're here. Any last celebrations? We've got about 30 seconds left.
Can we celebrate the people in this community? Like,
Absolutely,
you guys are awesome.
Derek, we can.
Give yourself a hand. Like, there's some cool people in this community, so.
And celebrate air conditioning, a free spiritual community. I'm grateful. I'm really grateful.
It's the only reason I came back.
All right. You joining me up here, Derek? Yeah. It's good to have you.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
You want to take the first one?
I'm supposed to read?
I think you can do it. I'm going to pray for you.
See if I can read. Okay. I've been working on this. Kiara, celebrating an amazing day at the Sip-N Shop with my daughter by my side. Heart is full. So grateful for recovery and free. That's awesome, Kiara.
That's awesome, Kira. Well, it looks like that was our only one.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we had so many celebrations in the house tonight that
there
we
was
just.
a lot of sober dates.
What was there? It was like 96 days sober. 7 months, 9 months. We had a year sober.
Here too.
Yep, 60 days for sure. That was
Community's
great.
killing it.
Absolutely.
So, nice job, everyone.
Well, good job on the reading tonight, Derek.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're
thank
here.
you. See that?
You did good. All right, you guys, we're in our second week of our series on the power of now. Got a quick video for y'all to check out. My third grade teacher put a box around my desk. It was this abstract hexagon box made out of duct tape that surrounded my desk. Everyone in my third grade classroom was on one side of the classroom, and my desk was right next to Mrs. Fran's desk with this duct tape box around it. See, the idea was to keep me in one place, to kind of slow my busy body so that I would stay seated. So I would just sit with it. You see, my 9-year-old social career was skyrocketing, but so was my time in detention. And so needless to say, this whole thing kind of went over like a lead brick. You know, and from that point on, I had this deep-seated, this conditioning that was born in me, you know, that avoiding sitting and skipping the lines, like that was this heroic act of rebellion and bravery, and that's who I wanted to be. See, staying inside the lines wasn't for someone like me. And only the strong-willed and the thrill-seeking, those are the people that cross the lines. And that's who I wanted to be. And so as a community or as a culture, we can resort to the thrill of skipping lines and that anxiety of the next, next, and next. Maybe when I put the bottle down or put the needle down, I'll be happy. You know, maybe when my loved one gets recovery, then everything in my life will be okay. Or maybe when I get that promotion or that next job or that marriage or that baby, like that's when things are gonna take off for me. And we cast our vision on this false sense of happiness that our future can provide. What do I need to do next? What's the next opportunity? Where do I need to go next? And that cycle, it starts long before I think we ever realize it. Do you remember being 12 years old? I remember being 12 years old and I couldn't wait to be 13. Couldn't wait to be a teenager. And then 13 happens and you realize that you're 13 and you're powerless. Like being 13 is just as useless as being 12 years old. And then you get to be 13 and you're like, man, I just need to get to the next. It's just gonna be 16 because then I'll have a driver's license. And once I have a driver's license, I'll have all this freedom. And then you get to be 16, you've got a curfew. So then it's the next. I can't wait to be 18. Be out of my parents' house, I'll be in college, I won't have this curfew. And then you get to be 18 years old. You don't have a curfew, but you're broke. You don't have any money to go do anything. And then we get to our next. I can't wait to be 22. When I'm 22, I'll have this job. I'll be able to pay all these bills. But then you get to that point, and you're still broke. So then you get to your late 20s, and you're like, you know what? I've got it. I'll just get married so I can find someone to help pay these bills with me. That's why y'all get married, right? Some of y'all are laughing too hard. I'm going to pray for you. So then you get married, and the signature, it's not even dry on your marriage certificate yet. And you have that aunt that comes up and says, when are the babies going to come? And then the kids come. The kids come, and you're wishing away that time. You're thinking, when they're this age, we can do this. When they're out of the house, that's when things can start. And then the kids grow up, and they go through this same cycle. They go get married and have their own children. When are the grandkids coming? And it's this next cycle. We're always looking for the next, to skip the line. We're in week 2 of our series on the power of now, and tonight my message is titled, To Sit With It. To sit with it. So last week we were in Luke's gospel, and I really feel like God is just telling me that we need to stay in Luke's gospel for this series. And so last week we talked about Jesus and when he was doing the bulk of his spiritual work in his 30s. And tonight I want to take it back a few years. And we're going to meet him when he's 12 and see what we can learn from a 12-year-old Jesus about sitting with it. So tonight we're in Luke's gospel, in chapter 2, verse 41 to 50. And it says, his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. So this is Jesus' parents, Mary and Joseph. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem according to the custom of the feast. When they had finished the days, as they returned, the boy Jesus lingered behind in Jerusalem. And Joseph and his mother did not know it, but supposing him to have been in the company, they went on a day's journey and sought him among their relatives and acquaintances. So when they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem seeking him. So I have to pause here because I don't think you guys are getting the context. But Joseph and Mary, they lost God. And I don't know about you, but I lose things. I lose my wallet. I lose my keys. I lose my cell phone when it's in my hands. I lose kids, and they're usually the candidate kids, so it's okay. But I lose things. But I've never lost God. And you've got to be panicking when you're checking your pockets and God isn't there. And so verse 46, now so it was that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astonished at his understanding and his answers. So when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Look at your father, and I sought you anxiously." And he said to them, and you guys have got to understand, he's God, but he's also 12. So he's like, what are y'all looking for? Why did you seek me? Did you not know that I must be about my Father's business? But they did not understand the statement which he spoke to them. So in this passage, it says that Mary and Joseph went to the Passover celebration. And there were 7 days. They went there for 7 days, which tells us that Mary and Joseph were church folks. Like, religious law only required them to be there 2 days, but Mary and Joseph were there all 7 days, feasting and worshiping. Like, in Free Spiritual Community terms, they were going to every Saturday service. They were going to a trauma-informed yoga, the sip-in shops, every book study that we have. Like, they were really doing the deal for Passover. And then it says that they lost Jesus, and they left him behind, that he lingered. And now, because of all this scripture and this context, it's really easy for us to say, well, how do you lose Jesus for 3 days? But you've got to understand that this is such a long journey to Jerusalem. They were probably traveling with aunts and uncles and brothers and grandparents. And so during this trek, there's probably about 50 to 100 people with them. And when Jesus didn't come to bathe, and he didn't come to brush his teeth, and he stopped asking his parents for money, that's when they knew something was wrong. That's when they realized that there's a problem here. And so after 3 days, they search all of Jerusalem, and they find him in the temple, talking to adults, talking to the rabbis, explaining scripture, unpacking theology. And Mary says, "Why did you do this to us?" And Jesus says this statement, "Don't you know I need to be about my Father's business?" Here's what he's saying. He's saying, I'm lingering. I'm sitting in the presence of God, and I'm sitting in the now. And you have to grasp the awkwardness of this moment. He's choosing to side with these feelings and these questions rather than obeying his mother. Jesus understood that this was something he needed to do, and not everyone may understand. And there's some of you in here tonight that you know what you need to do. But you know that there's people around you and maybe sitting next to you tonight that they may not understand it. And as I'm reading this passage, what blows my mind is Jesus wasn't left. He lingered. Here is Mary and Joseph, and they're feeling guilty that they lost God, but they didn't lose him. Jesus ditched them. He sat in the now and in the present, and he lingered with God. And I find that so many people who live in this position of guilt and regret because of an opportunity that they missed out on. Why did I lose that job? Why didn't I get sober earlier? Why did I make that decision? Why didn't I make that decision? Why can't I just do this all over? If I could do it all over, I would just do it differently. My friends, can I tell you that asking why is not a spiritual principle? If you feel like you've been left behind, or you have this duct tape hexagon box around your life, if doors aren't opening for you, if you feel like you've been left behind, or there's this duct tape hexagon around your life, if doors aren't opening for you, maybe we can learn something from 12-year-old Jesus on how to maximize your current circumstances until the next season comes. Here's what Jesus did. He sat with it. He learned. Jesus just didn't hang back and watch bad reality television and get DoorDash. He was intentional with his time. He developed himself in the present. He meditated and he prayed that the next doesn't come right away. Maybe there's something that Jesus is trying to teach you in the here and now. If there's something in your life and you don't have it, ask God what you need to learn. God, what are you trying to show me in this season that I'm not seeing? Because as soon as I see it, I'm able to get to where I need to go. If you feel like God has left you behind, it's because he's trying to teach you about something where you're at right now. And here's what we don't realize. This next culture, the skipping the games line that we play, it's this prison that torments us. And then we begin to obsess over why haven't we made it there yet? And hear me when I say that if God hasn't moved you out of this season, that there's some miracles still for you in this season. Hear me when I say that there's miracles in store for you in August and in December and in 2023, but also still in July, today, and in the here and now. We get so obsessed over the next that we forget that there's a supernatural move of God in the now. Last summer I stood in line waiting for the Mind Racer roller coaster in Denver at Elitch Gardens. Yeah, some of y'all have been there. And despite the less than desirable name, the excitement and the anticipation was killing me. Minutes in this line turned into more than an hour, and it was hot, and we were impatient, and I'm dripping with funnel cakes and candidate kids, and I desperately wanted to bypass these 7,000 people in front of us in this line. And somewhere along that 60-minute mark, in between the laughs and the stories and the smiles, it hit me that the company I was with, the experience and that build-up, that's what it's all about. That 90-second adrenaline rush at the end, the destination, that's just the cherry on the top. The fast pass, that's not where the memories are, or where the serenity exists, or where the growth lies. The best moments they're in the journey, and they're in the waiting, and they're inside that hexagon duct tape box. They're in the present and in the here and now. After I close, I want to play a song for y'all. And I just want you to sit and listen. Take a moment to reflect and to just be in this moment. The season of patience and the season of now, it has these secret destinations along the way. Most of them I'm only truly aware of in hindsight. Reaching the destination is not extra credit. And see, on the journey from A to Z, there's not one letter that is lost. And I assure you, you are not either. Free spiritual community, I guess what I'm trying to say is don't miss the good stuff. Linger, sit with it. And don't skip the line. Unless it's Miss Fran's third grade class, then definitely skip that one. portion of the service is our storyteller. And tonight we've got a really special one for you. His name is Bryce Givens, and he was an All-American high school athlete. He went to CU Boulder on a football scholarship, and he got a concussion, and addiction took over his life for a few years. And now on the other side, this is a man who is not only walking the walk, but talking the talk, and just living recovery in his daily life, both professionally and personally, and in every moment in between. So will you all help me welcome Bryce up? You look great. That's a great smile.
Thank you.
Bryce, I think we should start with what everyone's thinking right now. How tall are you?
6'6".
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, too tall for airplanes, but and
any
couches
small
this
quarters.
size, right? So if I'm fidgeting, that's why.
Oh.
A little big for this couch.
Okay, Bryce. So take me back to you went to Mullen High School. You played football at Mullen High School.
I did.
And you got a full ride to CU to play football. So tell me about what your life looked like at that point and leading up to that concussion that you had at CU Boulder.
Totally. Yeah. So, I'm a local kid, as you are as well. We kind of went to, I wouldn't consider us rival high schools, but, grew up the son of a professional athlete and, went to Mullen High School, really excelled at football, was really highly recruited coming out of Mullen.
You guys lost 4 games your entire high school career. I mean, that's incredible.
One of those was to Columbine in the state championship.
Go Rebels.
We lost a total of 4 games, and I only have 1 state championship. So
because we got the rest of them.
Couldn't close the deal.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I don't want to talk about the past.
This isn't about high school football.
Yeah. No, but it was fantastic. I mean, I loved Mullen. I loved the culture and the camaraderie that we had there. And really, we preach community and connection in this industry and just in recovery in general. And that's one thing that I found at Mullen. Mullen was a fantastic community. There was so much connection. There was just so much support, and it was great. And so coming from losing 4 games, my total career at Mullen, and being an Army All-American, which is like the top 70 players in all of the country, basically being I could have gone anywhere I wanted to, but stayed at Colorado because I have family here. I'm from here. I'm local, and I wanted my family to be able to see me play, and my grandparents. Plus, there was good opportunity for me to play early and play often, and in hopes of finding myself with a successful NFL career.
Mm-hmm.
So I go from living this life of like excelling and holding up my end of the bargain, and putting in the work and being dedicated, to going up to CU, and I think we lost like 7 or 8 games my freshman year.
In just one season, yeah.
One
so going
season.
from 4 games your entire high school
Right.
career to 7 or 8 games, I mean, it was humbling.
Right, and then even in Little League too. I mean, I think we lost in total from the time I started football to the time I got to CU, we probably lost like a total of 8 games.
Yeah.
So just a complete like 180, a flip in just the entire energy and like what I had been used to. Not to let that be an excuse, but it was different. It was something that I wasn't ready for and wasn't accustomed to, and really lost that community, lost the connection as soon as I got up to Boulder. It turned into, rather than being like a team and a family, it was just like a business.
Yeah.
And, I had already been, dabbling and experimenting with drugs and alcohol and finding myself in sticky situations with just poor behavior. But with all the connection and the community that came with Mullen, and just it was so tight knit, we were able to kind of, weed out, if you will, the super detrimental behaviors. And so when I was left to my own devices and kind of left up there on my own and didn't really have the support that I had earlier on, and I really started to dive into opiates on a whole new level. Rather than just experimenting, I was just like, now, I was playing with pain, and so
You got a concussion, right?
Got a
And that's what
concussion,
laid-
really bad concussion.
Yeah,
Yep.
to your kind of opiate use.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was one of the catalysts for sure. I mean, I think that was probably a major thing. You know, I got knocked out. It was in practice. I was redshirting, and so I was in practice. For what redshirting, for those of you who don't know, basically you get 5 years of eligibility to play NCAA or any Division I sport, and basically you finish school in 4 years, but you have a 5th year extra if you need to like mature, or if you're not ready to play on the varsity level. So they call it redshirting, and you get a year to just do academics and basically practice on the team. So I was practicing, and I got a really bad concussion, got knocked out, and so I started self-medicating with opiates, and that really, really quickly turned into a downward spiral of just like complete addiction, full-blown addiction.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're completely not living in the now.
Yep.
You told me that you're playing the University of Texas, and your addiction went from opiates to being high on heroin playing the University of Texas.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big jump. Absolutely. Like, you know, I go from self-medicating to like a complete, like full-blown addiction. And fast forward basically a year from when I had the concussion and I was starting as a redshirt freshman. You know, at the time we were in the Big 12, and so we were playing some pretty big teams, you know, Texas, Nebraska, you know, playing some pretty big games. And all the while, like, I'm performing at a high level, but I'm still struggling with this addiction, and I'm getting high. Like, before the games, I, you know, was mixing up heroin in a nose sprayer and shooting heroin. Before the game, at halftime, after the game, recovering, like, it was bad. And so, like, you know, I was telling you the other day, we were playing in front of 104,000 people at Darrell K. Royal Stadium in Texas. And it's like big time environment. And, you know, the only thing I'm thinking about is like, when am I going to get to halftime so I can like get my fix, you know?
So tell me about that point where you lost your complete identity and your addiction really just took a hard pivot and things started to go really downhill for you.
Totally. I think it was like 2012 when things really started to go out of control. It was, you know, at this point I was going into my redshirt sophomore season. And it was actually my birthday, and it was 2012 up in Boulder. And for those of you, most of you probably don't know what this is, but there's this website, or there was this website called World Star Hip Hop. And basically it was just like, it's like TikTok, but 12 years ago, I guess 10 years ago. And so what it was like these compilations of like people getting in fights or like just crazy things on the internet. And so to cut a long story short, a friend and I were out, it was probably 2 a.m. He decides to, you know, we decide that he's going to get into a fight. He's going to World Star Hip Hop somebody and punch this kid, and drunk stuff, right? Dumb stuff. And so I'm recording the fight, and he gets into a fight with this kid. Well, the kid drops his cell phone. I pick his cell phone up. For those of you who don't know, if you touch somebody else's property, that's called robbery. So I get charged with robbery, and I find myself in Boulder County Jail. And the next day, I'm reading the paper while I'm sitting in jail, and it says Bryce Givens is no longer a part of this team. Like, my coach came on. It was a new coach at the time. And so that was like the real start of like the complete downward spiral and losing my identity. So fast forward a couple months, I find myself on another team at Colorado State Pueblo, which is a Division II school down in Pueblo. And at the time they were, you know, the number one team
really
in the
good.
country.
Yeah,
really good.
They were great.
Yep, really, really good team. And fortunately for me, I got a second chance and an opportunity to go down there and play with, again, to try to find myself in a culture that was high performing, high achieving, winning mentality. And so I went down there, and by this time, I kind of skipped over. So CU sent me to rehab after that freshman season, after my addiction kind of really spiraled out of control, and I stopped using opiates. So I was clean from opiates, you know, from basically 2010 until about 2012, and then I went down to Pueblo and found myself starting to use opiates again. So like mid-season. Start using, again, doing it during halftime, doing it during the games, doing it before and after. And it was just spiraling out of control, but I thought I could hold on to it this time. But all the while, I'm thinking forward, like, you know what, I'm going to make it to the NFL. Like, I'm going to play in the NFL. I'm going to get there just on my hard work and talent alone. So I finish up that season, and we get tested by the NCAA, and this was my first like real actual NCAA drug test.
You were never tested at CU.
So I was tested once, but so there's two different types of tests. There's street drugs and then performance enhancing drugs. So I was tested, and so I had some tests at CU and no problem. Get tested down at CSUP, and I ended up failing the drug test. And so you're done. Automatically lose my next year's eligibility. And at the time, you know, I was talking with agents and preparing for the next level. And, you know, I was projected 3rd, 4th round pick. And what had happened was I left to come back in that next spring to try to do another year, finish my degree, and potentially get, you know, a higher placement in the draft. Well, when I failed this drug test, that eliminated that. And basically took away my ability to play another year in college football. But then in talking with these agents, they're like, nobody wants to touch you with a 10-foot pole.
Yep.
And so at that point, I basically quit. I quit on my career. I quit on everything that I'd worked hard for. And I stopped because I was a full-blown addict. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. I don't need this. And I wasn't sitting with it. I was at the time thinking, okay, how am I going to get my next fix? I didn't even care. So that's where I really, really lost my identity. And then this you know, selling drugs and doing a lot more drugs really spiraled out of control really quickly. Once I had that whole identity that I'd built up from 15 until basically 22 or 23, just lost myself. Yeah.
Tell me you told me something that has stuck with me the whole week. But you got sent to prison, Canyon City Prison, and you said it was the best thing that ever happened to you.
Totally.
Because you were forced to be in the now, to just sit with everything. Tell me about that and your experience and how you ended up down there and what happened after.
So that story came about, you know, after I lost my identity playing football, really started selling drugs a lot, got involved with the wrong crowds in a hurry, and, you know, started getting connection with some bigger time dealers, and I ended up catching a case. I got sentenced to Pier 1 initially, which I don't know if you guys know what Pier 1 is or Stout Street, but it's a behavioral modification rehab, and you have to get sentenced there from the court. And I actually caught an 8-year sentence there. And so, you know, I got caught with a lot of drugs and a heavy distribution case. And so I went to Pier 1 with the hopes of like gaining my life back and getting my life under control and changing the things that I needed to in order to get to where I wanted to go. I had realized that at this point, like I had a major problem, and like obviously you just don't catch an 8-year Department of Corrections sentence if you're acting as you should, right?
That's not usually how it works, no.
So I go to Pier 1, and I won't get into the details because that can be an hour talk in and of itself and how crazy that place is, but how amazing that place is and how it just completely changed my life. I guess the major thing that I can talk about that I learned from that place is just self-awareness. And it comes back to what the service is about tonight, is like sitting with it and being present. A big thing for me in this whole process before I get to prison is learning about entitlement and skipping the line, and growing up the son of a professional athlete, and, you know, excelling in everything I do, whether it was academics or sports or whatever. I was always just like, on to the next, go.
Yeah.
Never just like, right? And so for me, that was the biggest thing that I learned at Pier 1, was just like, you are no different than anybody else here.
No better and no worse you are.
That's it. You're the same. Your behavior is what got you here. Your actions is what got you here. So maybe you need to take a look at those. Maybe you need to take a look at your thinking and your attitude and your emotion and your beliefs and the things that lead to these habits that you have. So needless to say, even though I was learning all of this stuff, I was still not being present. I was still like, okay, I can do this, like on to the next, right? And so I started drinking Kratom. And for those of you who don't know what Kratom is, it's it's basically a southeastern plant material, I guess. It's like crushed up leaves, and you can.
And this is something you can get at a head shop.
Yeah, you can.
Not that I'm advertising it, but I just want everyone to know just that how readily available it is, you know. And I think it's great to put some education on this Kratom, but you can just go to a head shop and get this stuff.
Yeah, right down the street. I'm sure they sell it, you know. So I get it. I get kratom, and I start taking kratom. And it gives you kind of like a euphoric feeling. And at the time, I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. I can manage this. I can handle this or whatever. It's going to be one or two times. I use it for a few months. And then basically New Year's of 2018. So for those of you who don't know, Pure One or Stout Street, these programs, these behavioral modification programs are like 2 years long. They're long time programs. So I get through about 8 months of the program with nothing, smooth sailing, really learning a lot, doing all the therapy, doing all of the psychodrama, doing all the things. But once I start working and start going off, they call it off the block, basically back into the community, I start drinking this kratom. To cut the very long story a little bit shorter, I end up getting in trouble and I end up getting regress from Pure One for non-compliance of the program. So they send me to prison. They basically turn my 8-year sentence into a Department of Corrections
Because
sentence.
of the kratom use.
Because I wasn't following the rules.
So it was, you don't pass go, you don't collect $200. You had this kratom pop up on a drug test, and you are going to Canyon City, and you're going to prison.
Yep. So I am literally sitting in the back of the paddy wagon, and I've told this story many times, and they're taking me off, and I'm like, you know what, I have a decision to make right here and right now, and I can either go down this path and, you know, continue to employ these ridiculous behaviors and find myself in these same circumstances, or I can choose the alternative, and I can do things right, and I can be honest with myself, and I can have integrity, and I can move forward in a way that other people can then use my experience to learn from this, because nobody should have to go through this. So I made my decision right there. I knew I was going to be locked up. I knew I was going to be in prison, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have some time to really like either use this as an opportunity to grow and learn and make myself better, or I can waste it and throw it away and do the same things that got me into this place. So I find myself in Canyon City, and fortunately for me, I was a non-violent drug offender, so they sent me to like a minimum prison at Arrowhead Correctional Facility. And like I said, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me in my life in terms of finding who I am, developing love for myself, learning about myself and my motivations and what's really driving me and what I want to do for the rest of my life. And you know, Robbie couldn't make it tonight. He's our director of ops at Elevate, and his daughter rolled her ankle really bad, so he couldn't make it. But Robbie and I were actually roommates and cellmates at Arrowhead. And we had these discussions with each other, and we said, hey, like, we want to create an opportunity for people to find their path. And so this was back in, 2018, when we were both sitting in Arrowhead. And at that point, I had decided, like, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to be of service. I didn't know in what capacity yet, but, I took the opportunity that I had that was presented to me to be able to figure my shit out.
So you and Robbie developed the blueprints for Elevate recovery homes in your cell at Arrowhead State Prison.
Yeah, so it wasn't really clearly defined yet or anything like that, but we were like
really rough blueprints. But nevertheless, that's where and you guys this has come to fruition tenfold. Like this is something that you're living today. So tell me a little bit about that and what Elevate Recovery Homes is about. Today.
Excellent. Yeah. I mean, so we really talked about just wanting to give people an opportunity. I come from a privileged background, and like I came from, realizing my privilege. I was like, I see these guys in prison, and I'm like, 80% or more of these guys don't have any support. Yeah. Didn't come from any like family help. Didn't come from like nothing. And so we were like, I want to be able to help these guys who don't know what they're doing and need a hand up. And so that's really where the idea like initially started. I got out first. I was in the halfway house and successfully completed that really quickly. And, was just trying to figure things out, all the while kind of talking with Robbie and maintaining dialogue with him. And I had probably 3 or 4 of my really close friends from Pure One pass away.
Wow.
And so just all my friends kept dying, or my friends kept relapsing and going back to treatment or going back into prison. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, this doesn't need to happen. So really decided, I think probably around the end of 2019, just through discussions and keeping in contact with Robbie, knowing that like I wanted to be able to help, but didn't know in what capacity I wanted to do it yet, whether that was like get into treatment or start some kind of get involved with Phoenix or get involved with, with one of these organizations. And so really one of my friends was coming out of rehab in California, and he was looking into sober living, and I had known about sober living and had, a little bit of an idea about like what it entailed, but I knew that there weren't any programs that incorporated the things that I learned in the therapeutic community from Pier 1, and then the things that I was doing in my recovery once I had gotten out, which is like exercise and nutrition and community around that sort of
approach.
Holistic. Yeah, the holistic fellowship approach. And so I was like, why don't I kind of marry these two things and develop my own flavor, my own brand? Not that, I have so many friends in this community, and luckily for me, I reached out to Aaron and Scott, who you all know, and they were so gracious and so kind. I think Scott's here tonight.
Yeah, Scott's over in this couch right here.
Yep.
Scott wants to
Scott's
bring a
fantastic.
motorcycle in here.
Yeah.
He's trouble. He's great.
Yeah. And so I reached out to Aaron and Scott, and they were so kind, and they sat down with me for 3 hours when I really decided that I wanted to get into this business. And they answered all the questions that I had, and they said, here's what you do and here's what you don't do, and we can connect you with this person. And I was like, this is amazing. I found it. Like, I found my community of people, and like, this is fantastic. Now I kind of have the blueprint. So it was kind of these ideas and like this, we planted some seeds and stuff like that, but now it's finally starting to like grow a little bit. So with that, we started Elevate Recovery Homes, and my fiance and I bought a home back in
Kayla's
yeah,
in the
Kayla.
house. Shout out Kayla.
And we bought a house back in early 2020, 2021. Sorry, the whole COVID thing like really threw me for a whirl. So 2021, we bought a house, and we decided to turn it into our first Elevate Recovery Home. And we just wanted to create a program that really emphasized, living intentionally, right? And it kind of comes back to full circle around what we're talking about. It's like being present, sitting with it, not jumping the line. And so I want to really create a space, create a community for guys to have that holistic thing, right? So where they find fellowship and community with exercise, because I think moving your body is one of the most important things that you can do in recovery. I think there's, obviously I'm biased towards it because it's my flavor.
But it all goes together, right? Mind, body, and spirit, and just that equilibrium between all three.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we started, and we've been super fortunate to have a ton of success over the last year and a half now. And, we have 3 homes currently. We're opening up a new home from one of our alumni, actually, who just progressed out of our program a couple months ago. He's a homeowner and he's like, I want to open up and Elevate. And so super fortunate that we're going to be doing that in August, in mid-August. And, we've just been super blessed with, really trying to fulfill what our mission is. And have the support from the community to be able to do that. And we're super excited about right now and right here. And we have some of our guys here tonight. And, I just love what I do. I love waking up every day knowing that like I can give somebody an opportunity and have it potentially impact their life in a positive way. And so it's super amazing. And it's not work, right? I love it. And so, the saying, like the cliche saying, like if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so true.
So tell us about, you guys have Regeneration Day tomorrow. So tell us a little bit about that. I know you have a golf tournament coming up, but I know there's a bunch of people in here tonight that'll be at Regeneration Day tomorrow.
Awesome.
So
yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, so one of the big things that we really wanted to do, like you guys do, and I love Free for this, you guys host so many like community events. And community and connection are everything. And so that's what Robbie and I have really tried to do, is develop a ton of different opportunities for guys to do fun things, right? Like you guys have a book club. We have a book club. Funny enough, I didn't even know you guys were reading The Power of Now. We vote on our book club. We just finished up a Gabor Mate book, and now we did like picking books out of a hat. And we're reading The Power of Now is our next book.
Oh, look at that.
coincidentally. But we have book clubs, and we have all these fun events that we're trying to do. Like next weekend, we're going to hike some 14ers. If any of you guys want to come, Grays and Torrey's Peaks. We have this golf tournament coming up. But for several months, when I first met Tammy, and I love what she's doing, and I'm like a huge coffee snob, so I was
you guys are huge supporters of Wagon Coffee, Elevate
Totally.
Recovery
Yep.
Homes, so we appreciate
Yep.
you for that. But
Yeah, and I was talking to Scott about this earlier. I know we try to provide the coffee for you guys' Saturday night events, and,
Yep.
and we kind of cycle those
you'll
through.
sponsor it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. All these sober living
Love
homes, we
coffee.
appreciate you guys.
So Regeneration Day was basically just this idea. I was like, well, there's some other gals in the industry who are super into like, sustainability and eco-friendly stuff. And so I was like, why don't we just all like collaborate and like host a fun event? It could be cool. We'll get some animals out there. And
We're
this
gonna have
event,
alpacas,
Yeah.
goats,
Yep.
chickens.
Yep. It's going to be great. We're going to have farm animals. And I don't know if you guys all know Heidi, but Heidi from I Am Recovery, she's fantastic. And she's going to be there, and Flatirons is going to be there, and Galas. We're going to have a bunch of people in the community. It's going to be fantastic. But the whole message is just around like rebirth and regeneration, whether it's in recovery or whether it's agriculturally or for the environment. And I think all these things kind of like co-play with each other. And so
absolutely.
that's kind of where the idea stemmed from. Really, it's going to be like a farmer's market style. We're going to have some vendors there. It's probably similar to like what you guys did here earlier today.
Yeah. We didn't have alpacas though, so
No
y'all need to
alpacas.
go tomorrow for the
Yeah.
llamas.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I mean, it's going to be a good time. We're going to have some barbecue out there as well. So just another event for us to connect with everybody and be in the community and, share some love with everyone. So should be a good time.
Well, that'll be great.
Yeah.
So Bryce, you can get with Bryce after service or on our website if y'all are interested in Regeneration Day tomorrow. It's in Centennial, right?
It is, yep,
From
right down
10
the street.
to 2. So once you buy your tickets, you can, I think you guys it's a $5 to $25 donation for
Yep,
per
just a
ticket.
donation-based thing, $5 to $25, and we'd love to have all of you out there. It'd be fantastic.
Well, great. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks
up here
for having me.
tonight,
I
Bryce.
really appreciate
For
it.
sure.
Thanks
I
for
mean,
letting
you
me
fit
share
great
my
on the
story.
couch.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
I don't want to make you bend down that low. It's a long way for you. All right, you guys. What a great night. Well, we just want to thank you guys for all of your donations. And there's a couple giving boxes here around free. We've got this giving box here and over by the bathrooms that are appropriately named giving boxes. And then there's 3 ways to donate online. The first is with the free spiritual community app. This is a free app. Also, all of our messages are on there. Any information that y'all need about book studies or any events that we have going on are there. You can also donate via freespiritualcommunity.com and online there. Or the third option is to text the number on your screen. That's our wagon number, and there's a couple instructions, and then you guys can donate that way. So we close out service every week with our heartaches. We want to lift you up and pray for you. So similar to our celebrations, Derek is going to walk around with a microphone and let us pray for you, whatever hard stuff you're going through right now. And for you, those of you online, please take 3 minutes and in the comments, and we'll just lift you up. So let's take 3 minutes. Looks like no one needs any prayers tonight, Derek.
There we go.
Shannon's like,
I have a girlfriend in New York who just got a liver transplant 2 days ago. So she's in ICU in recovery, and I'm just praying for her. I want to lift her up tonight.
oh, prayers for her, Shannon. Lifting her up for sure.
Hi, Liz here. My cousin's son is 2 years old, and he went into the ICU yesterday. He choked on a sandwich. He's 2, and his heart stopped for 40 minutes, and he's been unresponsive since. He's on a ventilator, and they're just hoping for a miracle.
Lifting that up for sure. We're praying for him.
I'd like to pray for my friend Jeff Quinn. Going through his second stint of chemo. Yeah.
Lifting Jeff up. Prayers for him.
I'd like a prayer set for my lost dog that I lost on Sunday, and that if she's out there, that she's still okay and that someone found her.
Prayers for your dog, Matt. If y'all see a white husky in the Lone Tree area. Those dang dogs, they sure pull at our heartstrings. We got one right here, Derek, in the center.
It's just my prayer to have everybody, I hope everybody can find faith in someone or something to have hope.
Thanks for that, Sheldon. That's beautiful. Prayers for that, for sure. Dara up here.
I'm Dara. Somebody that I love very much is relapsed and is a little bit lost, and I just pray that he finds his way back.
Prayers for him, Dara. We love you. Glad you're here.
Prayer for my my mother and my brothers and sisters that are struggling with addiction right now, that they surrender and that they surrender and get the help that I'm getting.
Amen,
and
sister.
Find that peace and serenity that I am finding. So, yeah.
Prayers for that, for sure. Any last prayers we can lift y'all up with? Hope we've got one more in the house here.
I just need everyone to pray for my friend who recently committed suicide, and I've relapsed, and I'm going to clean out his car for his dad. So
Prayers
I'm
for you.
hoping that he has moved on for his dad. So
Prayers for you and him and his family. Thanks for sharing that. We're here for you. Stick around afterwards and let us love on you. I think Chris Watson is going to join me up here. Oh, looks like Derek has it. It's great to have you up here, Chris, on a Saturday night.
I love that message.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad you're here. It's a great shirt you've got.
I wonder where I got that.
I'll sell you one.
They're not free. They're $25. Just so you know.
All right, let's do some heartaches. Oh, you want to take the first one?
Stephen, please pray for Dr. Kevin G. in his mid-50s with ALS. He stopped seeing patients due to his ALS. Hopefully he will have all the time he needs with his family. Stephen, thank you for that, and prayers for Dr. Kevin G. That's a tough thing to have to make a career stop, especially for a physician that's trying to heal people.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, and prayers for you.
Yep, definitely. Prayers for you, Stephen, and for Kevin G.
That was it.
Well, that was the red dot, so it looks like we only had one. Thank you for...
Am I 6'6" now?
Goodness. I don't think so.
Ego boost. Not.
You keep coming back. All right, y'all. It's been a great night. We're going to go out with the third step prayer this evening. So if this is not a prayer you're familiar with, it'll be up here on the screen for you guys. But let's just take a moment of silence for the still suffering alcoholic in the hearts in and outside of this room. And then we'll go out with the third step prayer. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with thee, to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help. Of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life, may I do thy will always. Well, everyone, thanks for coming tonight. We're glad you're here. And remember this week, just sit with it. So hopefully we see y'all tomorrow at Regeneration Day. Have a good night.